Welcome to this evening edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. We're coming to you on the eve of Obastard's last State of the Union address. I'm Phil Taylor Jones, your host, and we welcome you as always to come along on this State of the Union address adventure, if you can call it that. Well, to tell the truth, I didn't expect that much of Obastard because this is his last year. He's washed up. Everybody basically knows it. So what is he going to say? Well, I figured he would do just what he did. He zeroed in on immigration. He didn't touch on the gun control as much as I thought he would. He went into this starry-eyed dreamer mode that he sometimes goes into about the America he envisions, and the America that he envisions is one of somewhat a ludicrous nature. He did make some statements that I found totally asinine. One being about our troops, how he has, in his administration, provided such care for our troops upon their returning from their various missions and what have you. What a crock, because I personally know veterans that are not getting the care they so rightfully deserve. That goes for health care, mental health care, just services that they need. They're not getting it. They're not getting procedures done. They're not getting the medications or the devices that they need. So, again, Mr. Starry-eyed Dreamer, Obastard, strikes again. He also made mention about climate change and what his administration has been doing on that score. As I mentioned in another show that we have previously done, a lot of that stuff goes to the EPA and presidents that were before him. So, I mean, he hasn't done too much in the way of helping this country. He's talking about raising the minimum wage. He's going to be working on that. Well, fine, that's cool. But if $15 is your goal, then what you need to do, as we've said so many times, is get to these greedy homeowners, home lenders, and landlords, and food producers, and people like that, and get them to lower prices. Because if you raise it up to $15 and everything else is up here, that $15 an hour isn't going to do you very much good. He also touched on his affordable health care and how 18, I think he said, million people have now jumped on that bandwagon. And that's a farce, because even if they have, it's not affordable, and doctors aren't that, prevalent, because a lot of them don't want to be bothered with the thing in the first place. It's a debacle. Then he went on with his usual spiel about immigrants. Again, I say, I don't know why they're beating on the tom-tom so much about that. We have more than enough people in this country that are of foreign nature, and we don't need any more. We've got many of our citizens out on the streets, including our veterans, and until you get that problem settled, then the door should be closed on any future people coming here, because you claim you don't have enough resources to get our people off the street, but yet you can have resources to accept foreigners, including your own favorite nation, the Muzzies. I find that hard to swallow. Then he went on to say that America can't be the America that it can be unless we embrace all people, religions, creeds, colors, what have you. Again, I say that's balderdash. It has been known that these people that you are so anxious to have come over here and join us will be coming over here to join us, but yet probably decapitate us, shoot us, kill us, because we do not want to conform to their blessed, lovable religion. So you're an idiot on that score. He went on further to talk about if the ISIS people didn't believe that we're serious about coming after those who threaten us, ask bin Laden. Yeah, you probably can ask bin Laden, because we never saw a body So old bin Laden might still be bumping around somewhere for all we know. And then he mentioned some other heads of terrorists and what have you. He claims that the worldwide coalition against ISIS is working. Well, you really wouldn't be able to tell that if you looked at those armed forces heads that were sitting there all stone-faced. And the only time they got up is when he said that our fighting personnel is the best in the world. Then they stood up because they were in total agreement with that. But when he went on talking about how well he funded our military and yada yada, they were sitting there stone-faced. In fact, one of them, if his eyes had been a dagger, Obastard would have been dead. And with that in mind, he alluded to the fact that Democrats and Republicans were not going to be in agreement on everything, which is true. But if I were president, the leader of the free nation, the greatest country in the world, I would feel about that tall if I'm giving a speech as important as a State of the Union address, and not to have everybody in the room at least have enough respect for me to get up and applaud. You got half of the room, which were arguably Democrats, standing up and cheering for Obastard, and the Republicans, on the other hand, were sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, this guy's full of crap. Whatever he's saying is crap." And that just sets a bad tone to anybody watching. So how can you stand up there with your little mealy-mouthed grin and expect people to believe you're doing such a good job when the people in the very venue that you're in aren't in unison or at least respectful of what you are proposing to do? Obastard is Obastard. His time is running out. He made mention of crisscrossing the country, again, spending up taxpayer money to talk about his wish list and things that he would like to see done in order to give the world an impression that we're, this great, benevolent, wonderful country that, has obviously fixed all its problems. Our economy is so great. We have done so much, and anybody who tells you our economy is not great is peddling a bunch of political propaganda. False, Mr. Obastard. Because how can you say that the economy is doing so great when we're sitting on a $20 trillion deficit that will perhaps never be brought down? And the little deficits you're talking about that you help to reduce, I don't see that detracting from the big one. So you're full of hokum yourself on that one, on all of the stuff you talked about, basically. He's talked about giving Joe Biden total autonomy and putting him at the helm of the cancer research so that we can find a cure for cancer. And good luck with that one. It's kind of hard finding a cure for it when you don't really know what causes it. For many, many years, people thought that cigarettes cause cancer. And while that may be true, they cause a type of cancer, but you're putting a broad band, I guess it is late, folks, I'm twisting my words here. Broadband, stroke of the brush, talking about curing cancer. There are different types of cancer. Some cancers may be curable, others possibly not. We can only hope for the best. He also gave credence to himself that his administration was the one who wiped out Ebola, or at least most instrumental in doing so. And that's a falsehood. That was a community, a worldwide community, spearheaded by the World Health Organization, that helped to wipe out that dreaded disease. And it's not totally wiped out because it's been flourishing a little bit over there in Africa. I find it interesting that he did not touch on the fact that he is looked upon for war crimes in that debacle with the I forgot the name of the group. It was the doctors who had been bombed in the hospital, Doctors Without Borders. They were bombed after they specifically told the powers that be, which were him, the CIA, and all the war people, the military people, exactly where they were. They gave them the coordinates. They gave them pictures of the building, from an aerial perspective. They knew exactly where this hospital was, where the Doctors Without Borders were working, and they still bomb the hell out of them, killing I don't know how many people, injuring I don't know how many more. So, your administration is responsible for that, but I noticed you kind of stayed off of that subject. His dear wife was sitting up in the First Lady's box with her empty chair beside her to serve as a symbol to all of those that are no longer with us because of gun violence. And her muzzy Syrian immigrant sitting there, and she's smiling like a Cheshire cat in her cream yellow dress, which was totally sickening. Like I said, I had my bucket ready just in case I had to puke. But he kept it so short, thank goodness, that my bucket remained clean. So yeah, that's Obastard, classic Obastard. He tries to, paint this beautiful picture, and everybody knows that he's full of crap. What I found interesting about his speech is he kind of, in a nice, nasty way, took digs at Trump and Cruz. Marco Rubio was sitting there, and at one point, I don't know whether he was actually just looking at something or he went, he just went like, this guy's full of crap. But anyway, poor Bernie Sanders was sitting up there looking like the dreary-eyed pooper that he is. At one point, he took out some kind of little paper, and I guess he was writing on something that Obastard was saying. But, it was uninspired, classic Obastard. But I'm glad he kept it short for, the vast majority of the American people. He went on to speak for the American people that most of the majority of people are behind him and what his administration has been doing, which was a load, because I know I'm not for anything he does except for leaving office. I'd be for that. In closing, they brought forth Nikki Haley, is her name? Nikki, the governor of South Carolina, where that tragedy took place. Well, she's of Indian descent, and she got up there basically beating on the tom-toms about what Trump is doing. She didn't mention his name, but you could kind of read her overtones about how we need to become accepting and open up this wonderful dream for everybody, because that's what America is all about. And she went on to just spew a lot of democratic philosophies, in my opinion. They could have done well without her. She didn't help the cause any. She talked about climate change. Naturally, that's something that they're all beating on the tom-tom for, because they see a dollar sign in it. Some kind of way to make American people pay for, something that's basically a load of crap. Then she went on to say, God bless, or we want to make America a better place for all men and women. Just make it a better place for people, because people encompasses both genders. I mean, you don't have to, beat the tom-tom for one certain gender because you are a certain gender. As far as this immigration thing goes, I will say this in closing. Our American women, are really hung up in this abortion thing, women's right to choose and all that kind of stuff. Well, on that score, I am opposed to that way of thinking, because if you look at it, these foreigners are coming over here and they don't care about abortion. They're having babies. And that's part of the reason America is not America anymore, because we are diluting our American society, our American values, our American way of life, because we are diluting it with all these foreigners who couldn't give a damn less about America except to use America to further their own selfish gain. So American women, I beseech you to, if you happen to get yourself with child, consider having that baby. That could be the next governor, mayor, doctor, lawyer, president, the next American person that values American traditions, that values our Constitution, that values who we are as an American people. Oh yeah, one thing, gotta throw this in. Obastard was saying that when nations, other lesser nations get into trouble, they don't look to Russia, they don't look to China, they look to the United States. Yeah, because they know that the United States is an easy touch because of people like Obastard. You know, if they go crawling over there to China, then that guy is going to say no. If they go crawling over there to Russia, Putin is going to say no. But this idiot will say yes to anything, especially if it has a Muzzy contingent on it. So that's my spin on this last State of the Union address by one Obastard. Glad to see him going the other way. Can't wait for January of 2017 so we can just say goodbye, Obastard. Sorry you stayed so long. Glad to see that you're gone. We hope that you're having a great night, and we look forward to seeing you here once more for the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Take care and stay safe.